Hi, Maya. How are you doing? Good morning, everyone. Hi, Possum. How are you? Welcome, welcome. I got hair stuck in my glasses, apparently. Ow. Whoopsies. Ow. Just single strand of hair from my head. Whoopsies. Glasses, love that. Fuck you. Rude as fuck. But how we doing? We're back with some more Cage Roses. We're finishing the game. We're at the final alleged 2 hours. I say alleged because how... I say alleged 2 hours because, like, how long is it going to take me to read this? Is the question. You never know. One never knows how long it takes me to read a goddamn thing. Sorry. Last time we were rescued by Henny. Henny. We were quote unquote rescued from Magdalena's captivity. The nice plush room. We were rescued by Henny. But we stopped halfway. We stopped at the entranceway because we witnessed Magdalena in a conflict, in a duel, in a duel conflict, fighting against the other vampire whose name is eluding me right now. I'm just gonna have my glasses on the fucking shelf because I can't use them while YouTubing apparently. There we go. Sorry. Tears on my face. But yeah, we're back. Also, Meg K totally didn't die. She totally didn't die, trying to block an attack. Trying to get in the way of blocking an attack, and then getting, stabbed in the, chest. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by existence. I'm distracted by people. Talking things in my ears. Anyways. Yeah, Tamika totally didn't get, a hand shoved through her, because she's trying to block that attack from hitting Magdalena. Totally didn't die from that. No. Totally not. Totally didn't get revived by Johann. In doing so, Johann used up a lot of his life energy and is currently probably dying right now on his way out to the church. Totally isn't happening. Because we just woke up. We woke up. Maggie woke up in her bed beside Henny and Magdalena. Henny worrying so much about her because, you know, she's the maid. She's her maid, Mackey's maid. And Magdalena is sleeping. Was sleeping at her bedside. But yeah. And we're about to go on. I think we're about to go on another stroll about with Magdalena. I don't remember exactly what we're doing. What is on the docket for now? What is happening? But we're back. We're awake. We're gonna talk about some Magdalena. I think we're gonna learn some more backstory from her. I don't remember exactly. My brain's really bad at remembering things, but I do know that we're having a conversation. And I was stopped from finishing it last week. How dare they? How dare y'all stop me from playing? I'm joking. Yeah. We're gaming. Let's jump back into wait, what's it called? Danse Macabre. What an interesting act name. Act 4 of Danse Macabre. I guess that's the episode. sub-act. I don't want to pry, and this might be a peculiar question, but was that small girl your mistress? Back to voice acting, my favourite part of this game. Silence descended between the pair following this question. Vacay glanced at Magdalena from beneath her eyelashes. Can't fucking read. And Magdalena glanced back. Her face deadly pale. For a while, Magdalena was quiet, lips pursed. Then, after heaving a small sigh, she spoke. Ah, yes. So it comes back to this. That girl, I thought you might ask about her. And for good reason. Hi, Kimmy. Welcome in. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. It's a lovely Sunday. I'm, once again, being fucking weird. Oh well. This is my life. Y'all kind of set up for this when you walked in the stream. Fucking weirdo. No, a fucking weirdo. Oh well. Oh god. Jeez. I didn't mean to resize that window. We're good. She wasn't my mistress. And she really was. Poor thing. My mistress's name. That poor creature. She was called Crystal. Though perhaps she had no need for that title after she was turned. Names are courtesy only humans are granted. Oh, sure. Well, she might have looked like a person, but any humanity she might once have had was stolen from her a long time ago. She couldn't talk. I'm unsure whether she could even think, beyond thirsting for blood. She was less a girl than a force of nature. She was always hungry, and she was angry alongside. It wasn't always that way. Crystal used to be a sweet young girl, though I can scarcely believe it myself. She changed me so much. It wasn't her fault. She didn't ask for any of this to happen. And her to die. It was all very unfortunate. What happened? Mary Kay posited this question quietly, her pale eyes unturned. Would you mind telling me how you and Crystal came to vampires? And how you came to serve her for so many years? It's fine if you wish to keep it to yourself, but there's so much about you I don't know. I want to get to know you better, Lena. I know I want to be able to undo the past. Talking about it might help. Unless you think I'm being presumptuous and asking too much of you. No, it's... It's fine. I don't think you're overstepping your boundaries. How could you, after all you've done, after all we've done together? You know so much about me already. Spilling a few more of my secrets could hardly hurt at this point. But I'm not entirely sure where to begin. At the start, maybe? With my birth to a poor yet happy family in Inogen, with little knowledge or consequence. Well, that is to go very far back indeed. More than a century ago. I would only get sentimental if it started to talk about my mother and father. Not that I would cry over them, even if I wanted to. So I think I'll spare his eyes. I think I'll begin instead at... Let's see. Maybe it would be best to commence my tale when I first met Crystal. Magdalena shifted in an attempt to make herself a touch more comfortable before reading her tale in earnest. I was only 15 years old. 15 years old at the time, and naive for my age. Perhaps I was too young to work. My parents needed the money, and girls younger than I often went into the service. It's not so very different now, though I've gathered after speaking with Henry. Does that mean you were a maid? Indeed, I was. I was a maid, and I worked in this mansion years and years prior for Krista's family. The Von Schleichers. The Von Schleichens. That was before this house at Belmont wrapped in ruin. Before the hallways were thick with dust. Before the air reeked of death. I was young and fresh-faced in Crystal. She was not yet 3 years old when I began to work here, and during my employment, I watched her grow. She wasn't particularly pretty, bless her, and she was horribly shy. She used to shrink away from the other maids, but she had a soft spot for me. She would sit there while I was cleaning sometimes, though her parents had warned her against it, and would try to cheer her up. She was neglected by her parents. They spoke to her, as only to chastise her. She didn't have any friends her own age to play with, nor any siblings. I think she was lonely. That must have been why she sought out my company. I was one of the younger maids who worked with Von Schreichens. I tried to pay her especial attention. She rarely smiled around anyone else. My silly stories and jokes were able to make her laugh. She wasn't pretty, like I said. But when she smiled, Maid aside, then shook her head. I so badly wanted to protect her smile. I had 2 younger sisters of my own, and Chris reminded me of them. I suppose I have always been protective, and I took it upon myself to look out for her. Eventually, even her aloof parents took notice of their daughter's attraction to me, and they decided to make me Kristo's nursing aide. Kristo had gotten along very well with their previous nursemaid. She'd been sullen and sulky with them, and sometimes she even bit them. Perhaps that was important. Or what was to let it come. But I can't blame Kristo for lashing out. She was constantly being pushed around the whims of others. As a lady herself, I imagine you know how she must have felt, rattling about in this empty house all lonesome. Yes, I can imagine. My childhood was much the same. Though I never bit anybody. I used to climb the trees in the garden then, and pick the blackberries in the summer. And once I sneaked into my father's mausoleum, my family's mausoleum. My mother was furious with me. I knew she would be, but she did all the same. I think I was tired of listening to her all the time. It was stifling. I suppose it was the same as for Krista. This house. Magdalena gestured around Maker's bedroom, at its high ceilings and the wide window with the drawn curtains, though which the grey garden could be seen. It might be large, but it's lacking in warmth. It was cold even then. It was full of brave people. It was nothing more than a cage. Crystal couldn't stand it. In fact, I rather think she despised it. She was at her happiest when the 2 of us were walking through the garden hand in hand, and she could be free of the servants and her parents and all their guests. Crystal and I became so close I could even accompany her when her parents attended luncheon or soirees by the field and Augsburg and beyond. The von Schlachens were well known, and they were much in demand. If they didn't have half of Bavaria staying here, they would be paying visits to nobility all across the country. These near constant festivities occurred for 3 years, until an unfortunate event put paid to them quite quickly. Magdalena paused, now one hand resting against the base of her throat. Her expression was pensive, her brow furrowed, and it took her a few moments before she gathered the thread of her tale once more. It was only a dark, stormy night. Don't these stories often begin like that? What had happened? The von Schlachens were returning home after visiting the noble family, and Regensburg, I think. It's been so very long, I don't remember. The von Schlachens didn't often take Crystal with them when they went on their excursions, but I believe they had stayed with these people for over a week of festivities. Perhaps there was a special occasion. Maybe a wedding? I had been ordered to come with them, to keep an eye on Crystal, who was too young for dancing and drinking. I remember the carriage was wending its way through the forest. It was cold, long night, and the moon was full in the sky. It was around just as it was a few nights prior, like a giant eye. Crystal had fallen asleep and was lying her head upon my lap. I was trying to stay awake myself, but I was almost ready to doze. It was well past midnight and I was tired. I had been traveling for hours and hours. A handful of other servants had been come with us to attend to the von Schlachens. They were in a different carriage. We were almost at our host's house. At least, I think we knew what had happened. Maid's expression darkened. Her fingers clenched into fists about her lap. We were attacked while we were in the forest. Not by bandits, as you were, but by much more sinister. It all happened so quickly. I wasn't entirely sure what happened. It was only later, the gift of hindsight, I can say what must have occurred. It was a vampire. They must have been desperate, attacking a carriage full of people with impurity. 2 characters, in fact. But I suppose they knew humans would be no match for them, no matter how many there were. Perhaps they were desperate then, lashed out solely because they could. Perhaps they were not desperate then, but lashed solely out because they could. Because it amused them to do so. I had no idea. I cannot say. It happened so quickly. I never saw the face of the creature who attacked us. Not for more than just a few minutes. A few moments, even. I don't even know whether they were a man or woman. All I know is at one point, the carriage was wending its way through the forest, through the woods, unmolested by the next. Magneto's voice trailed off, while fingernails sank into her thighs. She inhaled, perhaps gathering her nerves, and her scattered thoughts before saying, I knew something was wrong when I woke up. I hadn't thought that I would ever wake again. I was in so much pain. The darkness had seemed absolute, and I fainted. But I soon realized this was not the case. I was lying upon the forest floor among the strewn, scattered leaves, like a discarded doll. My head hurt, and so did my limbs. There was an awful taste in my mouth, and I think I vomited. I don't remember. But I do remember feeling that something was wrong. With that, I remember wrong though. That I wasn't myself. I pressed a finger to my neck and found 2 marks there which perforated my skin. That shook me. But even then, what happened didn't fully register until I pressed my fingers to the inside of my wrist. I thought I was being silly. Fantasizing, maybe. I'd always been one to get swept up in my own daydreams, until I realized it did have a pulse. My skin was cold to the touch and hard. It felt like marble. That was when I realized that, though I had opened my eyes, I appeared to live on. I thought the same Magdalene I had been, and I wasn't really alive either. I was dead. I didn't need to breathe, and my heart didn't beat, but I could still think and sit up and walk. It was quite the shock, but I came to terms with it more quickly than I might think, and you might think even. I had to come to terms with it, lying in the middle of the forest as I was. I had no other choice. I don't know why I knew, but I was grimly aware that it showed the sunrise when I was still outdoors. I returned edge. I looked around and found the carriage I'd been traveling in. It had been dipped on one side, and Lord and Lady Von Schlachten were still inside, their bodies mangled. They were dead, at least. Properly dead. Unlike me, they didn't need to check their pulses to tell. The only servants they had traveled with had been similarly dispatched. Some were in one piece, but others had been butchered, I suppose is the only word for it. Bits of them were strewn everywhere. Why? I had been bitten so cleanly, I know not. If my assailant had torn me apart, if they had the other, I doubt they would have been able to sit back up again. But never mind that. No good would come trying to guess the motives of my attacker. I don't know who attacked us. Why they spared me, in a sense. No good will come trying to question the motives of my attacker. I don't know who attacked us or why they spared me, in a sense. It was probably wrong. I wasn't the only one who survived this assault, either. No, I wish I was. I found her lying upon the forest floor unconscious, her arms and legs bent at broken angles. I thought she was dead, but when I reached to feel her pulse, she shifted, and that was when I knew. Crystal had died. that she was still alive. She had been turned and she was only 6 years old. Magdalena winced at this and reached for her chest. There, her fingers twisted as though seeking to wrench out her own heart, which no longer beat. I was able to retain much of my rationality after I was turned into a vampire. But my young mistress was less fortunate. The sweet, shy, stubborn girl I knew had vanished when she woke up. She had lost all her sense of right or wrong, and knew nothing save her own insatiable lust for blood. Her desire was so intense. I think it overwhelmed all her other senses. She could no longer talk upon waking, could no longer smile. She was out of control. I didn't realize that, however, until I took her back to my home. Made it back before the first rays of sun rose, with me carrying Crystal on my back. She'd been half asleep as I carried her, and had been docile enough, but she changed when she returned to her old abode. There were still servants who resided there, to upkeep the place in one Schlachen's brief absence in Crystal. Magdalena gritted her teeth together. I couldn't stop her. I didn't expect it of her. I had no idea what she was capable of, such cruelty. I soon learned that I had erred in my judgment. However, when she tore her way through the servants who still resided there, she slipped into their quarters, quicker and swifter than I could, and she made short work of them. She murdered all the scullery maids in their beds, and the housekeeper, and the footman. By the time I had got her, it was too late. She had murdered dozens of servants, and she was dripping with gore. There were chunks of flesh beneath her necks and in her hair, and the smell. Magdalena pressed one hand to her mouth. But the worst part about it all was the expression on Crystal's face as she carried out those atrocities. She didn't look aghast at her actions, but she didn't seem particularly euphoric either. Her face was just blank, like a slate, and completely empty. The killing didn't seem to rouse any particularity, any strong emotion within her, but she killed all the same because it was what her instincts told her to do. Like a rabid animal, she knew of nothing save attacking. She bore her fangs in her claws and killed them. Oh, The servants' quarters much like steam from hell itself. And the blood. I'm ashamed to admit that I found the smell quite enticing. But the horror of it all helped me resist. I was no longer a human, but it still possessed my sense of morals. I behaved as Krista was. She was a child, and had an excuse, but I was an adult. I knew better. I told myself I would act better too. I knew I couldn't reintroduce Crystal to polite society, early society, as she was. I was afraid she would harm anybody she came across, so I decided to bind her inside to her bed to stop her from causing any further chaos. Then I devoted myself to finding victims for her, so she would not starve. I had hoped animal blood would be enough to satiate her, but she turned her nose up at it. She only drank the blood of humans, and it had to be fresh. I had no choice but to kill on her behalf, to sustain her. I tried to do so without drawing too much attention to ourselves. I've been looking after Crystal for the last century. While Crystal slept, I had a lot of free time, and with it I taught myself to read and how to write. I made use of all the books in the library, the von Schlechtens left behind, and with this knowledge I fashioned myself into a lady of sorts. After being a maid for so many years, I think I wanted to act a little more important than I really was. I suppose part of me even believed I deserved to act thus, being a vampire. I was stronger now, after all years, than many unhuman could ever dream of being. It was quite a rush, I'll admit, when I slew my first victim for Christ's sake. It was thrilling, almost, to bring down a grown man with such evil. Part of me took delight in my powers. But another, rather greater part of mine grappled with the cruelty of my actions. Hello, phone, what the fuck are you on me for? Nothing, apparently. I tried to target people who deserved it, much like those bandits, Pursuit and Henrik. But that hasn't always been possible. I'd killed any number of innocents to save Crystal. My earbuds are fucking dirty. Sorry. I try to tell myself I'm not like her. At least, I'd rationale. When I considered all the evil deeds I've committed over the years, I have to wonder. Am I really any better than she is? I am a vampire too. When all is said and done, I should have died over a century ago. I can play at being a human well enough, better than many others of my kind, and I do try to remember my manners. The fine clothes I wear are all for show, as if my effective way of talking. Crystal might have been a monster, but she was never trying to pretend to be otherwise. She was too earnest for it. I about as though I am worth more than I have, as though I am a real lady. A lady! Magdalena scoffed. There was without any humour, though her lips were pulled into the grim facsimile of a smile. Her eyes were dark and joyless. I could never be a lady like you, my kid. I wasn't born into nobility. I am just a hapless maid, laying down. But no, I am not even that. Hello, phone. What is it now? Actually, I have no idea what this is. I'm a monster. A murderer. I have no right to act like these airs and graces as though I am so much better than anybody else. I have no right to be alive at all. Oh, later. Maid sighed thus, once Magdalena had finished speaking. She looked at her companion with gentle compassionate eyes that reached forth. Taking one of Magdalena's gloved hands in her own, she squeezed and said, "You might see yourself as a monster, but I don't. I can never regard you like that. No." Magdalena sniffed, her shoulders trembling, though her eyes, as always, remained dry and devoid of tears. You don't think me wicked after I caused you so much suffering? I kidnapped you, and if Ed Marie had killed my poor mistress, I am certain I would have fed you during the end, as I have so many others. Yes, I know. But it's not as though you tricked me. You lent me no illusion. You lent me to no illusion that, should I remain in your house, I would not reach my end. You warned me, but still, I persisted in remaining here. You could have let me go, remember? Had I not come to Henny's deserts. And of course, I remember. It was your self-sacrifice which first made me regard you. No, it isn't really more so for my mistress, but as an equal. I thought the way you treated Henry was admirable. My old mistress, Crystal's mother, that is. And if it would have been so conscientious, I was regarded as a friend of the family. I was only ever a servant. In that sense, I suppose I am somewhat jealous that you and Henny were so close. She's lucky to have a mistress like you. And Krista was very lucky to have a maid like you, who was so unfairly loyal. You stayed by her side. You stayed you stayed by her while you were alive. You continued to serve under her, even after the pair of you returned. That is why you performed so many immoral actions. It wasn't for the fun of it, nor the thrill, that you hunted down all those who traversed too close to your home. You did it because of your overwhelming loyalty to your mistress. You didn't want to let her die. Is that not right? It is right, yes. Heard Maria was ready to scorn me. Though I had the best of intentions, I was woefully misguided. The young girl I had cared for died a long, long time ago. She looked somewhat akin to my Krista, but she was not her. She was not a human. By prolonging her life in so unnatural a way, I only made her suffer more. If I truly loved her, I never would have chained her indoors as I did. I should have let her starve. That would have been a real kindness. That's easy to say. It's easy to say what you should have done now, but I don't think you would have done that. You would have had it in you, Lena. To kill my mistress. To kill my mistress. Making noted. I know you like to posture yourself as heartless monster devoid of emotion, but that isn't true. You're far nicer than you appear. You say you should have let your mistress. You say that you should have let your mistress starve, but that you could have let that happen. You would have felt much too guilty. It wasn't her fault, after all. She was turned. No, it wasn't. You're quite right about that. My mistress was innocent in a sense. She was only a child. I don't think she really knew what it was she was doing. But she was still incredibly dangerous. All the more because she did not understand her own strength. She certainly didn't recognize me after she was turned. Though she'd always been fond of me when she'd been alive. I would sit with her every day and try to penetrate the fog which she shrouded her memories to the veil. If she had known who I was, I like to think that she wouldn't have hurt me. But she still did. I knew she was a monster, whose existence would cause others untold harm, yet still, I could not kill her. I pitied her flawed image. She was beyond being destiny. But I can't say the same about myself. I still maintained my sense, even after being turned. I didn't know what I was doing was wrong. My hands are stained with so much blood. I think I'll never be able to wash them clean. I'm glad that you still see me, to care for me, and care. But how can you bear to be with me? Don't you think me unforgivingly wicked? You might think you're wicked. You might think you're wicked. You've certainly said so enough times. But I do not. You were put in a difficult place. But I think you did the best you could. I'm not a bad person, Lena. Just an unfortunate one. You're asked to be turned into a vampire either. I know that, but how am I supposed to live my life now? How can I ever forgive myself? Silence filled the room, following Magdalena's exclamation. It just rose and fell with sharp, uneven breaths, and her eyelids trembled. Though Magdalena's skin was untouched by age, May-Kay could see the years of pain and self-reproach written upon her. It poured in her eyes, which seemed all of a sudden unfathomably deep. They were so full of self-loathing, May-Kay feared she might drown in them. May-Kay could see now beyond all of Magdalena's bravado, could see one clear, unmistakable truth. She could see that Magdalena despised herself. Magdalena had despised herself for so many years. Ever since she'd been turned into a vampire. Magdalena could not love herself, for she had become something she considered evil. But May-Kay could. She had, and she realized, been in love with Magdalena for a long while already. Nina. May-Kay spoke softly, still squeezing Magdalena's hand. I can't say when, or even if, you'll be able to forgive yourself. It isn't something for you to decide. You have to think about all you've done on your own, and try to come to my own emotions. Yes. I thought you might say it, and you refused. No. I've had a century to think things through. And you already know what I think. I don't believe that I can forgive. I can be forgiven. It isn't possible. I've done too many awful things. Ida Marie should have put me to death a dozen times over, and not even that would have been enough to cleanse all of my sins. They're too great, and they weigh upon me much too heavy. It might be true for you, and it's true too that I don't know all the pain you've wrought. I know instead all how you treated me. I know that you didn't wish to cause me any undue hurt. May-Kay leant in, then pressed her other hand to Magdalena's cheek, cupping it gently. Her fingers splayed, and then said, And I know that even if you can't forgive yourself, I can. I forgive you. Not on behalf of the other victims. I'm afraid I don't have that authority. But for all you've ever done to me. Do you mean that? Making noted. I don't hate you, Lena. And I certainly don't think you're a monster. How could I? When I care for you so deeply. You've come to mean a good deal to me during the weeks I spent together, and if I'm being honest, I don't even want to be parted from you. Megan. Oh, Megan. Magdalena sniffed, her pale eyelashes trembling. I don't think I deserve your kindness, nor your fondness. But I'm not arrogant enough to assume I can tell you how to feel, though. And I know I've often acted like that. Your feelings are your own. If you like me so much as you say you do, then I suppose I'll have to accept it. I don't really understand it, but... A small smile caught the corner of Magne's lips. Thinner than a piece of sewing thread. I like you do, Megan. I'm in. Megan. Megan leant in closer. Still, the inches of space which parted her and Magdalena diminishing with each millisecond. There came a brief pause of about a second, like the gap between seeing and hearing a bolt of lightning, as both women stared at each other. They swallowed, as though in unison. Then they shifted. It was May Kay who moved first, but Magdalena soon followed her lead, bridged the infinitesimally short space between them. They parted lips, then pressed their mouths together. It was a very soft, gentle, tender kind of kiss, different from the one they had shared before, when after Magdalena drained May Kay of her blood. This was a kiss born, not from fear that soon their acquaintance could end, but from hopes, tentative though they were, for the future. The kiss lasted only a few moments, which might have endured longer had both women not been interrupted by the sound of a startling gasp. Oh my! May Kay and Magdalena pulled away, May Kay blushing abashedly to glance over at the doorway. There Henny stood, her eyes wide, frozen like a figure.
I was just thinking that you look like the sort of person who would enjoy one of our fairy kiss chillers.
She'd almost grey-faced enough for it. Her fingers curled about the door handle. Henny, like, I'm just here to watch, don't mind me. Possum? No. It's weird. Possum? No. Bad. Bad. Bad possum. Bad possum. Shaking my head. Shaking my fucking head. How dare you. Henny is a pure soul. She would never do such a thing. She would never say those things, ever. Unimaginable. Cannot believe you did that, Possum. Cannot believe you. Make it half a mind to try and make excuses. Tell Henny that things were not as they looked. But had a chance to get at any words. Henny was already beginning to babble. I do beg your pardon, May Kay. I didn't mean to walk in on you. If you're otherwise engaged, I can always leave. I'd hate to intrude. I can tell when I'm not wanted. What? No, Penny. Mackay frowned, her perplexity overcoming her embarrassment. Of course you're wanted. I'm always happy to see you. I need to apologize. Are you sure? It seems like the pair of you were, rather busy. Not that I can blame you for it. You've had a chance. You've had a chance to be alone for quite a while, and I'm sure Magdalena is pleased to see that you're recovered. It's only natural that you would want to celebrate, although I must admit I am somewhat surprised to discover how close you are. This is to say, I'm judging on you for any thought I'm happy, in fact. You are? Of course! I think it's a wonderful thing that you came from Metcalfe Magdalena so much. It doesn't matter to me that she's a woman, or even that she's a vampire. You've always been such an individual, Mackay. It makes sense that only an unusual person could win your heart. No, not that I mean that it's all you, of course. That's alright. I know that I must seem awfully unusual in the eyes of you humans. I cannot blame you for being surprised at Mackay's... How shall we term them? Magdalena smiled, her eyes crinkling. Affections, let us say, towards me. In fact, I'm rather surprised of it myself. I did not think, when first I imprisoned her, she would ever become so close. She is rather unique, though as far as young ladies go, she's not at all like the prim, prissy young maiden, Madame I once believed her to be. Oh yes, my Mackay's always been unique. She used to get all into all sorts of scrapes when she was young. Her mother would almost hit the roof. She would at some of her stunts. I can imagine it. Magdalena tittered, then glanced at Mackay and began to toy with the few loose locks of her hair. You are a naughty girl, Mackay. As a child, maybe. I fear Henny is misinterpreting me, though. I stopped acting half so wayward on my 13th birthday. I thought I ought to start acting more like a young lady. And if I'm being fully honest, being scolded so indiscriminately by my mother better grate on me. I thought my life would be easier if I changed my attitude. But it didn't make any better. Make any happy. Of course. Yes, you had mentioned. Your mother said it rather overbearing. She was very overbearing. She was very overbearing. She decided every aspect of my life, or so it seemed sometimes. I felt I could not even sneeze without her permission. As is often the way of nobility. I know of it well, having much experience. I was often punished. It was quite tedious being forever in the beck and call of my so-called superiors. As my mother's beck and call to sparing her daughter. I was supposed to be a lady. I feel more like a servant. I think I might have even less freedom than Henny did. My mother decided what I wore and what I ate and when I slept, and if that weren't enough, she also meant to decide who I would love. My poor mistress. I know you never much cared for Ergot, and after spending so much time in his venerable company, I can see why. But turns an ass! Oh, he is, isn't he? All that Latin. May pulled her face. He's such a bore. He's so stuck up and self-important. It was enough to turn my stomach. And he was small-minded too, for all his airs and graces. Can you believe, May, that you didn't even care tuppence about what might have happened to you? I told him we kidnapped. He didn't even attempt to try and find you. It was as though... Oh, I don't know. As though he'd written you off as a bad business venture. Cargo that had been fallen from a trading ship during a storm. That is often how I felt around him, yes. I'm not surprised that Ergots did not rush to my rescue. It would have been more surprising if he had. I would be happy. I would be very happy if I never saw him again. That is something I can concur with, at least. You've no need for a fiancé now. Not when you have me. Oh my! And his face, which had begun to cool during her decadent of water girl, now began to colour anew. The pair of you certainly are close, aren't you? That gives ought to give it away, I suppose, but well, it's an awful lot for me to come into terms with. Although I suppose it's nothing so very scandalous, now that I know what vampires exist in my world. When I think about all that, I don't suppose it should be too surprising that two women might fall in love, just as a woman and a man might. I've never given it much thought myself. If you're happy, who am I to judge? You might have kidnapped my Maid Magdalena, but you've certainly been more attentive to her needs than her so-called fiancé. At the very least, you seem to care for her. You needn't worry about that, Henrik. I care for your Maid a good deal. I might have done many wicked things in my life, but I am not devoid of feeling. And neither am I impervious to love. I've been alone for a very long time, but May has stolen my heart. You know, it isn't much of a heart, of course, given it no longer beats. But for what it's worth, my feelings are sincere. I really do love you. And I do. I promise you that. And I'm very glad to hear it. Your relationship might raise a few eyebrows, but I don't much care about that. I'd far rather you be happy, May than correct. What's correct anyway? Well, I'm starting to think all these rules and customs are made up just to give us little folk, or us large folk too. Get it? I'm large. It's a funny joke. There's more hoops to jump through. Why can't two women be in love? If that's how they feel. I, for one, think the world could use much more love, less. Feelings such as this should be celebrated. Penny. May smiled, touched at her maid's impassionate words. Thank you for being so understanding. I'm not sure what I would have done if you'd rejected me. As if I would. Hope you weren't worrying about that, May. What a waste of time if you were. You should know by now that I'd never judged you or desert you. I spent that last few weeks out of my money with the wolves scrambling to save you. Your ex-fiancé, I should say, threatened to have me thrown in an asylum for worrying about you too much. Oh, goodness. He didn't, did he? Yes, he did. Not just once, but twice. said that he was concerned about my safety, but I don't believe a word of it. He just wanted me out of the way. Ma! Ma! And he turned, then spat upon the carpet. Let's not talk about it anymore. Let's talk about it no more. It's not like we'll be seeing him again. Good riddance, I say. I've had enough Latin to last me in a lifetime. May came began to go. At this, as it had Medlina, who not had the pleasure of meeting Watergrod, was less amused, but smiled still, to see May Kay so happy. Once this moment of merriment had passed, and he folded her arms beneath her bosom, and said, Now, it is all well and good saying that we won't do, but I'm starting to wonder about the future. Do either of you have any plans? You don't intend to stay in the forest, do you? In this house? Oh no. I have no fondness for this place. I don't like it as much. I liked it much when I worked here as a servant. And I like it best now that I've been incarcerated here for over a century. This place has always felt like a prison, despite being so grandiose. It's much too big for its own good, and almost impossible to clean. It's practically falling apart about my very ears. Not wrong about that. This place needs a thorough cleaning about before it's even halfway habitable. Even then, I think it's been left unloved for too long. I doubt it'll ever feel like a real home. Lady von Essen would have been beside herself when her house had wound up like such a state. This place, unforgivingly, had never felt like a home to me. It isn't where I was born. It's not where I belong. My own family came from Inigen, which isn't so far away from Augsburg. I would like to see my parents again, or my sisters, but they'll be long dead by now. There's nothing left for me in this dreary abode. It is half decayed already, and makes me think of nothing but my young mistress's miserable fate. There is nothing for me in Inigen either, though nor is Augsburg. As a vampire, there's nothing for me anywhere. I have nowhere to call my home now. But I think I could make a home, maybe. If I could remain with May Kay. And perhaps I could even be happy. What do you say? Would you like to live with me, May Kay? At least would never make you work for your employment. Work on your embroidery, like your mother. And I wouldn't try to marry you off either. You could read all the books you wanted, and I won't chastise you. Oh yes, I love that. But where should we go? How will we live? I'm not wholly sure, but I have a few ideas. Deprecated though this abode is, and crumbling with age, its rooms and halls are full of valuables. Lord von Schlachen was an avid collector of curios from the Middle East, and his rooms are full of trinkets which ought to fetch a good price with interested buyers. I think if we were to sell a lot of these old bits and pieces, we would be able to embark upon a new life together, with minimal difficulties. As for where we will go, I am undecided. But perhaps we didn't settle on location right now. Anything will be fine, I'm sure. If I am with you. Oh, Lena. Maid trembled at both Magdalena's gentle words and her touch. Her cheeks turned pink, as they so oft did when she and Magdalena were together. And with a sigh that she said, I want to stay with you too. There's something I want more. And me. And me? And me? Coming words. If you need a hand hawking your wares, then please, make full use of me. My father used to sell his wares all across the country. I used to help when I was younger. I'd be more than happy to ferry your bits and pieces to Augsburg if you need an extra pair of hands. And when you've gathered enough funds, I'd like to move away with you. I wouldn't get in your way, of course. I'd give the pair of you some privacy. But I can't bear to be parted from my May Kay, when she's such a good friend of mine. Can't we stay together? No, of course we can. I don't want to be parted from you either, unless... May Kay paused like a Magdalena. Would you have an issue with that? With Henrik, third wheeling, watching, in a chair, in the room, in the corner. I'm joking. Magdalena smiled thinly. I might be a little jealous, maybe. But no, I would not mind. I would appreciate her help, if she's willing to offer it. Sifting all the valuables from this old pile would be quite a task. I don't know if I'm up to it on my own. You won't be on your own. I can work as diligently as a cart horse, as I've heard. I'm no stranger to menial labor. Let's do that then. It sounds a wonderful plan. If I was on my own, I doubt I'd have much of a future. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. Perhaps I would follow Louvre, a fowl to one of the church's executors again, on purpose, so that I might be granted some rest. I spent all my afterlife caring for my young mistress, and I always feared that, without her, I'd be lost. But now I know that isn't the case. I have found an unlikely friend in you, Henry, and an even more unlikely lover in you, AK. And who knows? If I stay with you, even a monster like me might be able to be happy. Hi, Olivia. Thanks for the head pats. Hi, hi. Hi, hi. What a shift in tone. Cage of roses. A maid and her mistress. Read the fourth act. Writing, Abby Hume. Programming, Abby Hume. Character designer, Rock CR. Character Rock CR. Background art, Samat Studio. Interface, Elgulator, and Hafang. Music, Bach, and Sarah Mancuso. Opening movie, Finale. Sound effects, Free Sound, and Bond 5. Proofreading, Zeman, Inzolf. Chinese translation, Yuri Atelier. Yuri? Whoa, Yuri! Engine, Rent 5. Published by 2.5 Studios. Black Screen. Epilogue, Sunflowers in September. Game, please. Thank you. It was late at the evening in Paris, and the sun had already set. The moon round and white in the sky like an egg. The moon haunts you. Despite the lateness of the hour, however, the streets were still lively. Carriages went up and down the cobbled streets, and the horses' hooves striking the ground at irregular intervals, while the vast wheels of these lumbering vehicles tumbled like thunder. It was always busy in Paris, or so Mackay discovered, rain or shine, day or night, especially in the Avenue Montaigne, which was full of expensive shops, which catered to the most privileged of customers. Theatre-goers and opera enthusiasts strolled past Mackay, their fashionable hats and coffered hair illuminated by the street lamps, while the servants hurried in their wake, carrying boxes and bags in their arms from a day of spent shopping. Young girls, meanwhile, some of them, not much older than 10 or 11, tried to hawk various goods of those who passed. Roasted hazelnuts and wilted daisies picked from the roadside. Most of the passersby ignored these street sellers, but Mackay was less cold-hearted. She paused by one such flower girl, a particularly young thing with dark hair and fair skin, who looked eerily like Magdalena's departed mistress, with the furrow upon her brow. Mackay had lived in Paris for well over a year, and had begun to feel almost at home amongst these streets. The stark depravity between rich and the poor did weigh upon her, however. Mackay could not help but feel for the girl, especially when she herself was wearing such finery. It seemed cruel to simply walk past her, but there were so many similar children in Paris, Mackay knew, distributing handfuls of coins here and there, which would have little tangible benefit. She paused for moments, perturbed when... Oh, it's her! Oh my god, look at her. Here you are, mademoiselle. And did you keep the change? It's well deserved, for these flowers are so very beautiful. Magdalena approached the dark-haired girl, handing her several coins from her pocket with a flush. It seemed Magdalena shared Mackay's sentiment about the poor girl, but she too seen the resemblance to Crystal in her pale, almost sallow skin and her dark hair. Mackay wasn't sure, but Magdalena seemed to be rather enjoying her role as the girl's benefactress. She beamed, now resting a gloved hand upon the girl's head, and said, "In exchange, would you mind giving me your finest bloom, my fair lady? Please, give her something which would set off her lovely red hair and her lovely limbs. I want my lady to look her best." For you? For you? The young flower girl, who seemed to be about 12 or 13, older than Crystal, then, giggled, then reached into the wicker basket, which dangled from the crook of her skinny arm. She rooted about inside the basket, shifting the flowers aside, probably ill-gotten blooms snaffled from some noblewoman's front garden, before she drew, from within its depths, et voilà! Et voilà! 2 sunflowers, larger than the other blooms in her basket, quite magnificent, with 2 riots of bright yellow petals. These sunflowers were large enough to ostentatious, but Magdalena didn't seem to mind. Instead, she seemed quite pleased with the flowers that the girl had packed, beholding them, as if they were fine treasures made of solid gold. She beamed, though not widely. It wouldn't startle. It wouldn't start the girl. It wouldn't do to start the girl with her shiny incisors, then said, "Thank you, kind mademoiselle. You are too kind. I'm sure my lady will look wonderful with these." "Oh, I'm sure she will. There's no way she won't. That's kind, mademoiselle. But when she's so pretty, not when she's so pretty, these flowers, see, these flowers suit her to a T. And thanks again. God bless you." No. Medina paused, standing by the roadside as the flower girl took off, practically beaming from ear to ear. Her sweet, well-meaning appellation, "God bless you," must have struck a chord because Magdalena looked quite amused. She blinked beneath the brim of her hat, holding the stems of the large sunflowers between her gloved hands. Mutedly, she looked out at the crowd which the flower girl had run, her hair shifting in the breeze. Then she frowned. Would God bless me, I wonder. Often I feel as if he had forsaken me, but Lady Ardelina? Hetty had been walking apace with May Kay, her hands laden with various boxes from her latest shopping excursion, now paused. "Oh, you're right. You look very deep in thought there." What? Magdalena blinked, like one waking from a long, long dream, and shook her head. Faintly, she smiled. A smile quite unlike any one of the smiles May Kay had seen from her during her sovereign in the von Schleichens old tumble-down manor in the depths of the woods. Then, in a light voice, she said, "Never mind, Fanny. I feel perfectly fine." "Are you sure?" I smiled teasingly. Though initially uneasy around Magdalena, she had grown quite comfortable with her during the years they had been together. Sounded quite cheerful when she said, "If you're not careful, you get swept away by the tide and trampling underfoot." Magdalena chuckled at this, then shook her head. "I would like to see this crowd try. If they have any sense, they ought to know to keep the distance." True to Magdalena's words, the crowd giving her something of a berth. Busy though the streets were, the men and women, their children too, seemed naturally to avoid her, as if they knew no good would come from consorting with such a maiden. Though Magdalena was short of stature, rather skinny, she exuded a kind of aura which seemed to render most people uneasy. Was it her red eyes, perhaps, or her pale skin? Mako was unsure, but it did make shopping easier than it might otherwise have been, and they were never jostled when they were at opera either. The flower girl from earlier must have made an unusual stern stuff if she had not been perturbed by Magdalena. That or she was that desperate for gold coins. She hadn't much cared about how sinister she was. "Well, sure enough. What? We've not had to worry about pickpockets with you around. But you really shouldn't sound about like that. You aren't feeling well, are you?" I'm quite alright, thank you. I fear the street is too crowded for my liking, however, and this is much too noisy. Let's depart for now. I could use some quiet. Madeline turned, making Henny following in her footsteps. The trio of women left Avenue Montaigne, which was busy all hours, and retreated to the riverside, to a quieter part of Paris, where there were fewer opera enthusiasts and self-styled gentlemen. The sound of the carriages faded away, to be replaced by the running of the water, the discordant quacking of the nearby ducks. It was even darker now than it had been, and the sky was a rich navy blue, a tapestry of stars, which fringed the all-seeing moon. The moon's light caught in Magdalena's fair hair, so it seemed to shine like silver, obscured through, obscured though it had been beneath the brim of her hat. Magdalena rarely went outside without a hat, but this might have been an unnecessary precaution. She took care never to leave the house when it was too light and was too bright. May sometimes found it unfortunate she could not promenade with Magdalena during the sunlight hours, but she had never once begrudged Magdalena for it. She enjoyed being outdoors with her partner when the sun was beginning to set, and the cool, crisp breeze was full of secrets, and the grass seemed to shiver as it waited the dawn of a brand new day. Free from the crowd, Magdalena turned to May-Kay. Then, very gently, she smiled. She stepped forth with the sunflowers in her hand and threaded it through May-Kay's copper hair, a delicate gesture which made May-Kay shiver. Magdalena beheld May-Kay, her red eyes full of such emotion. May-Kay could not quite place affection, she imagined, or perhaps something deeper, as she said, "Now that we're around, I feel I ought to repay the young pretty girl's message to you. Such kind words are wasted on me, given my true nature. But I hope God blesses you, my May-Kay. You deserve it." Lena. May-Kay blinked. A blush rose to her cheek. Pale pink. "It's very kind of you, but I think you deserve a few of those blessings yourself. I wouldn't want to take all of them. You want that to be greedy? Not at all. You can be as greedy as you want with me, May-Kay. Everything I have, I take. I do belong to you after all, body and soul. And really, you ain't worrying about God's blessing me. No? No. After all, I have you." Magdalena's red eyes softened. A gust of wind blew, stirring her hair, down her long coat. The yellow sunflower in May-Kay's hair was so very striking. It might have been garish, especially when they contrasted with her shock of vivid red. It was late, and the light was dim, and the sunflower, said, seemed a very soft and lovely thing indeed. That sunflower seemed to carry within it a whole wealth of meaning. It was a sun which Magdalena could not stand beneath it, for fear if she might burn to a crisp, that her body would be consigned to ashes. Magdalena could not step out during the day, but she did not need to. Not now that she had May-Kay. May-Kay would continue to shine upon her, to smile at her. And in that sense, perhaps Magdalena was very fortunate indeed. Both women had rescued the other. They had allowed one another to escape. And when Magdalena next spoke, May-Kay felt her heart flutter. May-Kay stared at Magdalena. She was so divinely beautiful. She put all of the goddesses in the Greek pantheon to shame, as she said. And when we are together, I feel very, very blessed indeed. The end. Sunflowers and temporary. Read the epilogue. Woo! Airbnb presents. The game is done. Yay! The gays! They're happy. The gays live happily. We're winning. We're winning. We're winning so good. Addendum. Okay, look at that. We're looking at addendum. What's addendum? Oh! Asriel? Who the fuck are you? Hattery. Would you tell me a story? What? Hattery, would you tell us a Hey, Hattery, would you tell us a story? What? What? Hattery glanced over at Asriel, her arm folded. Asriel was a blonde, curly-haired girl. She was very pretty. Already at the age of 14, she was the oldest girl in the orphanage. Decidedly too old for bedtime stories. Hattery had half a mind to tell the young girl to zip it. She wasn't she being a bit too demanding? What? Come on, Hattery, please. Please, 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 pretty please. I want to hear it, and I know you want to tell it. I want to hear all about the evil, wicked vampire you've beaten up. I don't want you to spare any detail, either. I want to hear all of the blood, guts, and gore. I want to know about all your amazing exploits, so I can dream about being an incredible vampire hunter myself one day. We all want to hear it. Is that right, Lucille? Uriel? Lucille, a girl 2 years, Asriel's junior, with braids and freckles, opened her mouth, but she didn't have a chance to say anything. Asriel cut her off. Asriel has a tendency to do that, smirking smugly all the while. Yes, that's right. We all want to hear it. See? Can't you tell? Can't you tell us a story? How do you mean? Please, please, please. Well, Marie paused, but Asriel's bedside, her resolve wavering. She put the children to bed as a favor of Johann. This was typically his job, but she knew he'd been busy lately, and had meant to leave them as quickly as possible. Asriel's hankering for a bedtime story had rather put a spanner in the works, however. Marie had already made her mind up to leave, and damn, if Asriel wanted one. Hey, Marie. Uriel, the youngest of the bunch, the sweetest, looked at her, askant. Would you stay, please? I also want to hear a story. Marie's resolve began to waver. She didn't want to spend her whole night indulging in a group of children, what? Oh, well. I can tell you one story, but that's it. I mean it. There really will only be the one. And it'll be a short one, too. Alright. Asriel whooped, throwing her hands up in the air in celebration. Brightly, she beamed and then said, What story? What story will be this time? Will be about your trip to Innsbruck with Father Dvorak and the creepy court that you found there. All the time you travelled to Austria in the winter and met the vampire noble who lived in that old place. Time you infiltrated that boarding school and you threw the headmistress, who was really a wicked vampire, and discussed through the window. What about that trip you took only a few years ago when you met the young girl at Mount One, who turned out to be a demon? Azrael and Lucille bombarded Hadamarie with suggestions, each more fantastical than the last when... Think about Magdalena. Uriel spoke softly, her voice barely more than a whisper, but Hadamarie still heard her. As a vampire, her hearing was impeccable, and she could pick up on even the softest of sounds. The padding of a cat's paws, or the individual sounds of the falling droplets during a rainstorm. Hadamarie's head swiveled in Uriel's direction, while the young girl shrank back, abashed perhaps at having been singled out. She hunched up on herself, bundled in her plain pajamas, and mumbled, "But that's alright, you don't have to tell us that story. The others were more interesting." "I don't know." Hadamarie's expression softened. She smiled. She was fond of Uriel, maybe because the girl was so small and scrawny. She'd come to the church after being found at the streets, presumably abandoned by her parents, though Hadamarie didn't know the precise details. Uriel had never told anybody about her parents, and nor her own home. She had never told anybody her name. What do you mean, Johann? The name which she was referred by, Uriel, had been given to her, picked out just like Lucille's and Azrael's. But at least Hadamarie knew what name their parents had given him. Uriel was a blank slate, so to speak. She was a lot more than Hadamarie did not know. She was a lot more about her than Hadamarie did not know. Her past was shrouded in mystery. Perhaps that was why Hadamarie preferred her to the others. Like Uriel's, Hadamarie's own past was blurred. It had been so many years, so many years since she had been a child, and she could no longer remember her own parents, nor the village where she had been born. She at least remembered her name, however. It was this which had allowed her to hold onto her sanity, even after being turned. This which had made her sense of self unassailable. Hadamarie did worry about Uriel sometimes, for she was something of her past to cling to. But that made Hadamarie all the more determined to answer her request, no matter how humble it was. Though Azrael and Lucille both preferred violent gore stories, Uriel was cut from a different cloth. She seemed particularly fond of Magdalena and to make her story. All the more, Hadamarie supposed, because it had something akin to a happy ending. At all the centuries Hadamarie had worked as an executor for the church, she had never quite known a story like that. Sometimes she wondered, Magdalena and May Kay were getting on, whether they were still together, just like she and Johann. The fates of these women remained a mystery. Hadamarie could recall the past very well, however. Could still remember Hadamarie's anxious face as she had entered the church in Augsburg that night, over 150 years ago, to ask for help. Hadamarie smiled at her as she sat herself down beside Uriel in a bed, surrounded by young girls, orphans, which nowhere to say for the church. Then she retrieved from the bedside table a book, a leather-bound tome Johann had penned himself. It was within this book which Johann had recorded all his adventures, those he had undertaken with Heidi Marie. Like John Watson, Johann had taken painstaking notes of all the fantastical sights he had witnessed during his unnaturally long life. With this book Johann had written of his travels, small, desolate island of Inksburg, and of the peculiar customs of its locals practiced. He had written, too, often, of the time Heidi Marie had journeyed to St. Johann's, an all-girls boarding school deep within the Austrian countryside, dispatched with a particularly pernicious, whatever, vampire. It was in this book, too, swatched with age, a good century or so old, that Johann recovered one of the most memorable nights, both of his and Heidemarie's life. It was in this book that he had written about May Kay and Magdalene. Nobody else knew of May Kay and Magdalene's tale. Johann had not tried to publish any of her tales, and neither had she wanted. Johann had always been a private person, and he had become even more insular since his turning. There had no qualms with the interactions with others. Certainly was not shy. Johann preferred to keep his past to himself. The stories looked up inside his heart, but only so that he might remember his muddled history, as the times continued to pass him by, the times and months and years slipping through the fingers of his hand, like sand. Adam thought it awfully sentimental that Johann bothered to write about his past. Why did he care so much? Adam Marie had been alive for far, far longer than Johann. And she never cared to look back upon the earlier days of her unlife as a vampire. Most of what Heidi Marie could still recall was unpleasant. The first century after her turning, at least, when she'd been a weak and feeble thing, and she'd been bidden to break necks and draw blood with impunity simply to survive. But Johann was cut from a different cloth to her. He'd always tried to look on the brighter side of life. Perhaps he'd wanted to prove himself that, though a creature which lurked in the shadows himself, the world was not devoid of sports, of hope, of life. Perhaps he wanted to remember that he had indeed helped people. Johann wrote his memories from nobody except himself. With a selfish occupation, in a way, unusual, so coming from a man so selfless as Johann. But Heidi Marie supposed everyone had their vices. Even Johann had his hobbies, and his fondness for the written words. He was not completely useless. Often the children, under their watch, adored his counsel. These children, all the orphans, were the only one who knew of Johann's exploits. To them, Johann was a hero, and so Heidi Marie supposed was she. It was strange. It was a strange feeling, being revered so by a group of children. But she did not mind it. Perhaps she had grown soft in her old age. She'd been alive for so many years, after all. But she would never forget the day she had spent with Johann. Not when she had written them all down for her. Perhaps Johann's writings had not been so very selfish, then after all. Had he left a physical record of his exploits for Hadwin too? She did not wonder about that. Henry, aren't you going to read? That's right. What happened to Maid Magdalena? Would she mind telling us? But now was not the time for musing. Henry was not sentimental herself, but at least she did want to be. And it was high time she got her act together. Softly, she smiled. She looked down at the book held between her hands, her pale fingers resting upon the pages. She cleared her throat, and said, "What about Maid Magdalena indeed? That really is an interesting story. I hope the three of you, are paying close attention." Madame Marie shot Azrael in particular a stern look. She has an annoying habit of interrupting. Then, her eyes half-lidded, Madame Marie started to read. It all began on a dark, sinister night deep in Bavarian woods. A young woman called Maid was running barefoot through the woods, wearing a torn dress and with a cut upon her pale brow. The dutiful maid, Henrique, rode alongside her, picking her way through the room. The fog was thick, and both women were exhausted. Maid could hear Henrique's entreaties above the merciless whistling of the wind. "Faster, Maid, faster," the maid cried, her brown eyes wide with fright. "You have to keep moving, or else, oh God, they're gaining on us." A dark and sinister night. It looks like somebody is reading a story. That's a cute thing. That's cute. It's a gallery. A lovely gallery. Dead body. Oh. I know. Look at them! So pretty. I love them. Oh. Ah. So cute. So cute. Some music, of course. Danse Macabre. Flute in a minor Bach. Benediction. And now for our favorite part, the notes. Where I read the whole notes section to you all. Because why not? I like reading words. Because fuck it. It's fun. Hi everyone. And thank you for reading Cage Roses. I'm glad that you checked it out. And I hope that you enjoyed it. As per usual, I'll provide a few notes to reward you for finishing the story, which will detail a few of the things which inspired this particular story. Though I think it might be somewhat obvious given its general aesthetic. So, I think this is fairly obvious, but the biggest inspiration behind Cage of Roses is Beauty and the Beast, the 1991 Disney musical in particular. But I also borrowed a little from the 1946 black and white Cocteau film adaptation of the general vibes. all the flickering candles, the desolation, and the general gloom. Mackay is, of course, Belle, while Magdalena is the Beast, and Hetty is... Those associations are a little looser. Belle's father. He's Belle's father. Who tries to aid Belle after she's been kidnapped. Phew! Well, I've already written a lot, but that was about wraps these notes up, so I'll see you later! Nah, I'm just kidding. I do have a little more to say about this story, usually I promise. I'd be interested in to know that, but I first hit upon the idea, which later became Cage of Roses all the way back in 2013, 2014. Wow, time really fucking flies. I know you devised Cage of Roses as a piece of fanfiction, actually for the Vocaloid fandom. Ha 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 ha! Surprise! What? The idea came to me when I first listened to the Kaito song Ashes to Ashes by Niboshi. I was especially inspired by the PV, which was made for Project Diva Future Tone, and my edgy teen self really wanted her to be a Vocaloid fic with a vampire vibe. I didn't want to cast Kaito as a vampire though, but Len. Give me a second. I gotta look that up for Ashes to Ashes by Niboshi. I'm gonna listen. I think I listened to this before. I think my friend actually likes listening to this one. Yes, I'm putting on the back of myself listening to real quick. It's first inspired by Len. The base idea behind Cage of Roses was there from the start. That a young noble is lost in the woods, and they get taken in by a seemingly vicious vampire who, despite being physically stronger than them, is actually shorter than the person they're holding captive. This is why Magdalena is shorter than Mackay, by the by. The contrast between being a powerful vampire while also being short and dainty looking is a holdover from its original being a Kaito/Len fic. Ha 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 ha. I wanted my vampire to appear cold and aloof. It was a little unnerving. I wanted the grand reveal at the end to be that this vampire is never really wanted to hurt humans. It was simply trying to help another enfeebled vampire that they were very close to as a human. Since they already said the story was first conceived as a Vocaloid fanfic, and the vampire was Len, it should be fairly obvious who this enfeebled vampire was. Spoiler, it was Ren. I actually did write a little bit of this fic a long time ago, but I didn't get too far. I had the base idea for the story, but no real meat to get from the beginning to the end, and I wasn't really sure how to bridge the introduction. Character is abducted by a vampire to the ending. Character discovers the vampire was acting to help somebody else, and they were killing humans solely for sport. By this point, I'd already lost interest in writing fanfiction anyway, so I decided to shelve the idea with the hope that I would reuse it for an original story. I kept this idea close to my heart, and even when I started working on version all was like The Way We All Go and Blackberry Honey, I kept thinking, what if I did something with this vampire story though? I still like the general idea, and I love crumbling gothics. I love calling gothic houses in the woods. It'd be a lot of fun to write it. I turned this idea in my head, and it made a couple of other attempts to turn it into an original story. I had a crack at turning it into a BL story and stripping away the Vocaloid inspirations. I'd also tried to retool it in a Yuri story without just luck. I still wasn't sure how to bridge the beginning and the end and how to craft the proper narratives of it. Until my Maid fetish story. My Maid fetish saved the day. Really? I'm sorry, what? Ebihime! Ebihime! What are you on? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Ebihime! What are you on about? It was a couple of years later, after I had written Blackberry Honey, which had been decently successful, that a thought suddenly came to me. What if I took my vampire idea and I gave the noblewoman the start of the story a maid? It started to seem like a simple change, but this was actually alter the whole trajectory of the story. If the noblewoman had a loyal maid, then I could send this maid out on a story of her own to try and rescue her mistress. The maid would have the most active role in the story, looking around the nearby city and trying to enlist anybody to help her, storm the vampire's castle, and save her mistress, while the nobleman would remain a prisoner, trapped in a vampire's home. This gave the story the meat I had wanted for many years, and let me bridge the introduction and the end together. Finally, there was a B-plot, and it would give me something to write about beyond the noblewoman languishing in her bedroom, but regularly having her blood stolen. The story was saved! So yes, I'm very glad I hit upon this idea. If I hadn't created Henny, the story never would have come to fruition in my mind, and I never would have been able to make anything of this once was vocally fanfic idea, which had left a languish. I was left to languish for a very long time. I'm very grateful to Henny for being a catalyst which spurred me into writing the story almost 7 years after this inception, and I'm very glad I was able to bring this vision I had to life. I think the characters are a little colored by their fanfiction-y origins. Medlina in particular, I mean, she was Len, and her name, Lamau. But I hope the story was enjoyable regardless. Magdalena. As for Johan and Heidenreich, they're actually stowaways from the story of mine I wrote back in 2019. Haha. Johan was originally conceived as a love interest in a Lovecraft-inspired VN. Ooh, as a young priest of the island who despairs that his congregation have all started to turn towards worshiping the strange fish people instead of the Lord. The Lord! It's the Lord! Heidemarie, meanwhile, was his vampiric assistant, who was sent to protect Johan, and also to patrol the island to deal with any threats, such as elder gods. That actually sounds interesting, though. That's a Lovecraft-inspired VN? Sounds interesting. I played something similar before. Like, wait, maybe another one. I also realize now, saying this, that Ebihime kind of has a Lovecraft-inspired VN. By that I mean you can she has a visual novel about you being the manager, the idol manager to Cthulhu, because Cthulhu wants to be an idol. This is a real story that she made. I haven't played it yet. It's been on my list for ages. One day for sure. I never did any of this story, even though I did write the majority of it, because the script turns out to be terrifyingly long. It's over 400k! And I really would go insane if I had to edit the code, that behemoth on my own. And it would probably be too expensive to produce in any event, since there are lots of characters. I left Johan and Heidemarie enough to rescue them from that story, and give them a new lease on life. I'd also like to think that this unreleased EBVN is still canon by by my overall in is still canon to my overall Ebiverse, and the events in it will occur even if the story, even if the story as of writing hasn't been released. Since Johann and Heidemarie do reference this story a couple times in Cage of Roses. The event in Cage of Roses takes place a couple years after they went to the journey at Innsbruck, and faced off against an island full of cultists in a story I wrote but never released. Ha 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 ha. Incidentally, the hero of the unreleased Vian, where Johann and Heidemarie came from, Howard, gets mentioned in one of the other Eurovians, Bitter Sweet Blossom. Howard is Patience's father. And Fran, Patience's mother, was one of the love interests from the unreleased Lovecraft fiction novel. Since Bittersweet Blossoms is a sequel to Blackberry Honey, I guess that means Blackberry Honey and Cage of Roses technically take place in the same universe. The vampires canonically exist in the world of Blackberry Honey. What? 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 Anyway, I think that it concludes all of my notes of Cage of Roses. The development of the story has a lot of twists and turns, and there's even more I could say. For instance, this was a story I initially pitched to What? Initially pitched to law when they asked if I wanted to write a script for them, but it was objected for being too dark. So they got our home my keeper instead. But I've talked enough already, so I'll cut it short here. Thank you so much for checking the story. I appreciate it. Wow! This was Ayla. This was too dark. This was too dark. Insert the games I'm making now. It's very funny to me. I'm not criticizing them. It's just very funny. It's just very funny. Yeah, this game is too dark. Anyways, here's who is the Red Queen, a Titan Blood, which you want, not which you want. On Wing Sleep. I can't think of anything. I can't think of the other one. I know. Definitely at the times. It's just very funny. It's just very funny now. Looking back and after reading this, looking back, yes, it's too dark. Insert the 3 dark games they're making such as Maid. It's very funny. Never mind. I poke fun. I only poke fun. But yeah, I don't expect to see a Alon mentioned in the notes of this game. I'll be honest with you. An Alon note, very funny. What a time to be alive. Well, yeah, I think that's everything. That is the game. Wow. 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 We still got some time left. I think this one's pretty short. Give me a second. Let me just check. Let me just check something real quick. How long is this thing? Is there a estimated time? Is there an I wonder. 2K words, short. Okay. So this is 2K words. Not bad. 2K words is short. You know, we can squeeze in one more visual novel in an hour and a half, I think. And open the game. You're gonna see what game opens up, because that's what happens with the Steam. That's how Steam works. Let's see what game opens first. Wait for the game to open so I can put it on screen. Wait, that was fun. That was a good story. That was a lovely story. Oh, it's so loud. It's loud in my ears. Oh shit, it's loud. Ah. Sorry. Sorry. I just one of the fucking options for this game is called prepare yourself. Give me a second. I'm just just put the game on screen. I think I don't have the stats correct at all. No, it's not correct at all. Soccer. The options for this the main menu, very funny to me. Very funny to me. Sacrifice. Prepare yourself. Leave. There are many types of people. That. Down a bit. Okay. We're playing. Oh, change category. We're playing optimal conditions for a sacrifice. Optimal conditions for a sacrifice. Is there category post? Optimal condition. Yeah, there is! Hell yeah. Vampire Yuri done. Time to die. Vampire Yuri done. Time to die. We're playing optimal conditions for a sacrifice. Made by, if I can remember the name, Mosanasi. The artist of a few of the beginning games. I believe the artist of It Gets Lonely here. The End of Obsession, and the third game I don't remember the name of off the top of my head. I believe I could be wrong. I could be very much wrong about them being the artist. I assume so. It's listed on the page. It's on here. It's listed on the page. Are they the artists for this game? Are they? I don't remember. They might be. I'd be wrong. I'd be extremely wrong.
I was just thinking that you look like the sort of person who would enjoy one of our fairy kiss chillers.
I do. Thank you. But yeah, I think the volume is substantial, is good enough. But yeah. Prepare yourself is the options menu, which I found to be very fucking funny to me. Prepare yourself is the options menu, and that is funny to me. All right, let's start sacrificing. Hello. I have to click something. Okay. For as long as you can remember, you've never had a heart. But there was a legend. How did it go again? Oh, right. If one was to offer her parts to the guardian of the forest, legs to mindlessly follow the Archfey anywhere, hands to selflessly do the Archfey's biddings, head to gaze upon the Archfey's beauty and impute her wisdoms, the Archfey would give them her heart in exchange. Or something along those lines. Hey, What do you think? Does that sound real? Does it sound real? If so, is that a fair trade? No? No wonder. So anyway, back to the topic. You, heartless girl. When you look at other people being all cutesy and happy together, look at these fuckers. Look at these motherfuckers. They're being so gay. Look at them. They're so Yuri. You find it kind of gross. You find it kind of gross. Get a room, will ya? Don't need to be so public. You need to be so public. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Give me a second as I go fucking die. Were you supposed to feel happy for them? It's nice that you don't envy them since you're fine being on your own. Give me a second. Were you supposed to feel happy for them? At least it's nice you don't envy them since you're fine being your own. They never understand love. Anyway, they always mistake it for attraction, destiny, lust, fangirl, they are fanboying, chemistry, and comfort. I like the sheer contrast between the two narrators. The narrator voice I gave Kate of Rose is like very prim, proper, sophisticated. Like no real emotions. Just matter the fact. And there's this motherfucker. They never understand love anyway. They always mistake it for attraction, destiny, lust, fangirling, or fanboying, chemistry, and comfort. I'm so physical. I'm such a theater kid. I'm so physical in my reading of this. It's very funny to me. They have no right to tell you anything about love. And you are fine being by yourself. That's right, you don't need your own heart. Neither do you need the arc phase. The arc phase being all clean, so you keep hearing the story again and again. First in the game description, now again. And this whole game seems kind of linear so far, so... you guess you don't mind having a heart. I guess you don't want to have your heart. I guess. I have to choose. Let's go to... Can I save? No saving, okay. No saving allowed, just one go, okay. Let's go check out the snake. Welcome, sacrifice. It seems reasonable to me to assume that you feel lost and confused. Why else would someone consider tearing themselves apart from the promise of something as fickle and empty as someone's heart? Therefore, allow me to offer you some explanations. Therefore, allow me to mislead you even further. Who am I? Where am I? What is your arc fate? What is your arc fate sacrifice? Make a sacrifice! Who am I? Who am I? The clear cloudless blue, the first bird's vocal in the morning, paved the road that wasn't maintained and rebuilt for more than 20 years. The heartless, the sacrificial maiden, the offering. The perfect being, so simple and pure, a symbol of her humbleness before the gods. Someone so directionless, they might as well reach for the very heavens. Where am I? In the place where the waters are murky and the sun is bright behind the foliage. The magical forest where the Archfey and her guardians reside. Or maybe I should say something along the lines of The fourth represents your wild and subconscious in your ID. Big, pretty words. Very deeply meaningful. Very flamboyant. I want to pretend I'm no liar. For now. Who was the Archfey? Oh, this is the question, isn't it? Is she the mysterious, unapproachable femme fatale? The grateful blue lady? Is she the almighty forced lily? And even powerful and ever powerful demiurge? Demiurge? Is she your secret admirer and creepy stalker? Or maybe she is a regular boring fae, attempting to sell herself too high. I must admit, I believe it's not so impossible. Important who she really is. Who she is from who she is for you. What's the Archfey's heart? Since you're here, you must have figured out yourself that it's quite a neat trinket. Once you acquire it, doesn't grant you much. But then, once you part with it, along with it, you lose the taste of your meals, the colors of your dreams. It's like seeing the unicorn for the last time. Excuse me for barging like this, but I should mention she's not referring to the... Sorry, and just... So sorry for barging like this, but I should mention she's not referring to the laws of innocence. She's referring to the movie and the book title, The Last Unicorn, which you could have not seen or read through. You know, The Last Unicorn. The movie I've totally watched. And book I've totally read. She also has never read the book, so this reference might be a stretch or a total miss. Who knows? Of course, you can still experience joy from your other bodily organs, but it's slightly different. Some people prefer lungs or tongues or ovaries or livers or hearts to hearts. For example, I am personally a fan of the brains myself. When most people get used to having a heart, they immediately try to replace it once it's gone. However, usually those replacements don't really pump blood very well. They just bleed at every grove into an annoying manner. Make a sacrifice. Offer nothing. You offer your nothing. You offer nothing. Ah, thank you, sacrifice. People don't understand how valuable void really is. Keep in mind, the lack of something is also still something. Well, I gave her nothing. Huh. What a time! Let's show the deer. Kind and gentle. Delicate to return. Strong and dependable. Rich and generous. Gifted and intelligent. Pure and precious. Honest and straightforward. Calm and peaceful. Decisive and coherent. Patient and veritable. Versatile, considerate, and polite. I am just describing those perfect hands of yours. Offer your nothing. Offer your nothing. I humbly accept your nothing, dear sacrifice. That's the water, caramel. Do you know this grunt? And why do you ever care for the source of the water? Only its destination. I don't want the water to carry me along. I want to go across the river and against the flow and sail the land. Thank you for nothing, silly sacrifice. Oh, she's pretty. Wow, so greedy. And you expect to receive something in return? Fat chance, buddy! Why would I give my heart to somebody who's this greedy? So, you offered some people what they wanted, and the others you didn't. What am I supposed to make with this mess? You probably had some idea in mind, but how the hell am I supposed to figure it out in this miserable basic visual novel, huh? Huh? Why should I give my heart to somebody so empty? So no talents, no ambitions, no personality, no feelings. A cripple who gave away everything. A cripple who gave away anything of worth they had. And for what? Listen here. I'm not giving you a heart. You said yourself in the beginning, you don't really need it. But you know, I personally never liked being by myself. It's just kind of boring. I can take it much better than most other people, though. So I can't judge them when they decide to desperately stick with people they don't love. And if people who don't love them back, having someone else by your side is really comforting and filling with goals and ambitions and whatever. Of course, it can also be bothersome and pressuring. Depends on a person, I guess. Well, two persons, I guess. Both you and the other person, you know, and that has nothing to do with hearts and feelings, of course. I've always fallen in love easily, and I've never gotten close because I know that they disappoint me. Are you any different? Maybe fall in love is a strong phrase, but you know, like, maybe a crush, taking a liking. Many people try to explain love, so many stories and songs about it. Don't they usually just all come out wrong? They don't praise one's beauty. They praise one's personality. They praise their experience together. Some say love doesn't exist, others can't differ it from camaraderie, others explain it with biology. Of course I know better. I also won't be able to explain love, and I won't even make an attempt to. Alright. Let's back to the topic. I'm a very forgiving arc face, so I don't really care who offers me their parts, now that I'm thinking about it. So, try again. Push on, you'll definitely get it next time. And so, you didn't manage to get Darkface's heart. But, don't lose your spirit just yet. I'm not getting anything, actually, it's someone else. Darkface, but you really didn't offer yourself again, and 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 again. See what happens, and we'll see what comes. Welcome back, Sacrifice. Where's the mermaid? Librarian. She reads and retells other people's stories, and she was scared to live her own. As you know, Little Mermaid's tale is infamous for being sad and cruel. Who is the centaur? My sweetheart, the prettiest lady in the woods. The artisan, the all-mother, the creator, the origins of this forest. the real goddess. Wow! Casual big reveal time, I guess. He sees other hearts, transparent and knows them all, and yet also knows nothing. Who are you? Can you guess? The sage, the scholar, the teacher, the end goal. The venomous trickster will be the end of your ignorance. The end of your youth, the end of your adulthood, the end of your elder years. The glimmer at the end of the tunnel, and the tunnel itself. The phantom movement you catch with your peripheral vision. The feeling of the limbs you never had. The weight you feel awake. The weight you feel awake in the morning. I am the first lie you heard, and the first lie you told. Make a sacrifice. Have my head. Oh, that's so kind of you. It's so full of some useless stuff. Stuff, though, it's going to take a while to organize everything and to clear things up. And yet, trust me, I'll do my best to put it to good use. What? There goes my head. Patience and calm, inattentive and forgetful, ambiguous and ambitious and self-aware, meticulous and picky, resolute and hardworking, dishonest and unreliable, pestilence and cold, witty and sharp, keen and nimble, enlivening and manipulative, tasteful and reverent. I am just describing the real hands of yours. You offer your hands. I humbly accept your offer, and yet I have to say, who needs anything real anyway? Well, look at my hands. Tell me a story about a little fish who enjoys walking about other fish's footsteps. It fills me with confidence and comfort. Surely, the fish in front have already explored the road. They've already endured all the hardships in her stead. It was easier this way. But once she saw fishes in front of her going the way she didn't like, so the little fish said, "Fuck this shit." If you liked my story, would you like to present me with anything? So there's fuck this shit. Oh, how nice of you. I love them. Now we can walk together in someone else's footsteps. Just imagine how cute it'd be. You'd constantly become more and more like them. I like the same music, wear the same patterns, prefer the same dishes. Simply adorable, less than 3. Well, pick up my legs. Pretty. I love her. You know, I don't really need my heart. And that's exactly why I'm being so insistent on keep bringing it up and again and again. I hate when people are being really enthusiastic about my offer. I feel like they don't really get the message and have some wrongful ideas about me and my heart. They start thinking it's some kind of almighty artifact, or that they'll have some power over me. Creeps. They either overestimate or misunderstood me. Maybe I should give my heart to one of them. But I really don't want to. I want to offer it to you, my dear sacrificial maiden. You need my heart. That's why I want to give it to you. Maybe I'm just not your type. I don't know. Maybe you're more into celestials or fiends or ancients. Or weapons. People are into worship weapons nowadays. You seem like one of them, actually. So I'm totally fine if we keep being this way. You don't need my heart. I keep offering it to you. And you keep your body parts yourself. Actually, you know, it'd actually be totally cool if you started worshiping someone else. Of course, only if they're better than me. If you truly care about them and they truly care about you, I don't need this to be near or to bother you. But if you really want my heart, be more forward about it, yeah? Try again. And with honesty and devotion this time, please. Don't start pretending that you want my heart. I need to earn it, yeah? You don't want to compromise or to tolerate me or settle with me. I need this to be a proper victory. There's no middle ground or ties. It's either my heart or nothing. Okay, hi again. The questions were asked and the answers were given. Now it's time for me to ask you something in return. Have you understood what has been going on so far? No. No. Oh, is that so? Which forest dweller is your favorite? The sacrifice. Interesting choice. Which forest dweller is the most relatable? The Archfey. Interesting. And finally, did you expect this story to have a happy ending? No! I don't! Alright. Thank you, Sacrifice. I would also really appreciate if you'd write Archfey a copy of your answer using this external gadget. It's simply a survey link. Don't be alarmed. Okay. Have you understood what the story is about? No! What character is your favorite? I like the Sacrifice. Who is most relatable? The Archfey. And finally, do or did you expect this to have a happy ending? No. Submit. The Archfey survey copy, EN. Thank you. Thank you. That's a real Google form they sent me. Feel free to change your answers and fill it after you finish the story if you wish. Thank you. Anyways, bye. Thank you, Sacrifice. People don't understand the value of void nothing. Keep in mind that the lack of something isn't something. It's also something. Witty and provocative. Sweet and cheerful. Impolite and cruel. Honest and straightforward. Impulsive and incoherent. Forgetful and insensitive. Clingy and bothersome. Laid back and adaptable. Sloppy and careless. Adaptable and diligent. Fragile and arrogant. I'm just describing these real hands of hers. I humbly accept your nothing, dear Sacrifice. Let me tell you a story about a fish who enjoyed it when other fish followed her footsteps. Not in a creepy way, she simply enjoyed being looked up to. Social media followers and copycats, so to say. This admiration filled the little fish with confidence and determination. If she was strong enough to path the way, then she could endure anything. She could choose her own path, and the other fishes followed it. So, like, it means she was cool. But once her followers got tired from walking, so they blamed the little fish for choosing such a long and difficult road. And the little fish said, "What the fuck? I'm a fish! I don't walk and don't have any footsteps." Thank you for listening. If you'd like to hear your story, which represent you with anything? Thank you for nothing, silly Sacrifice. She's so hot. So I guess you really want my heart, huh? But why? It's worthless. To be honest, I think I can I was clear about it. Yeah, you don't have your own heart. So what? You don't need it. You need your own body parts way more, and yet you gave them away just like that. Your life can be easily as fulfilling or even more if you chose your dreams and inspirations instead of my heart. And you know that. And you know that. And you know that. So it seems that you really do want my heart. Can it be true? How can it be possible? Did I bother you for so long that you simply gave up? Or perhaps you forgot about my heart's non-existent worth? Are you just curious about what will happen once you finally get it? Girl, I'm not going to disappoint you. No, I'm so going to disappoint you. I'm so going to disappoint you. My anxiety tells me that you just settled with me. My sensibility tells me that it can't be true. I don't think you are that sort of person. I don't think I would have loved you if you were such a person. Maybe you're just so good at pretending. Can it be? No matter what your reasoning is, I'm not fine with it. You're not getting in my heart just because you think you want it. Just because you successfully convinced me you want it. Stop being so selfish, but you have to redo it. Yeah, no proper reason for me to refuse, but I don't understand what's going on. I'm not going to give you my heart when I'm confused. Try again. Maybe put your heart into it this time. It's just a story about two little fishes who tried walking side by side. They knew that fishes don't walk, and I would have loved to tell you that these two fish enjoyed each other's company and so much that they felt like they had some phantom limbs and felt as though they could even fly. But in reality, they were just enjoying walking over the fish's corpses so much they evolved into walking beings. You offer your legs. Thank you, sacrifice. But was this really a gesture of kindness, I wonder? Now, when you don't have legs, you'll learn that one can't really rely on someone else's legs to carry them. One has to stand on their own, wobbly, uneven legs with dignity. Nah, my legs are gone again. Self-hating and whiny. Boring and plain. Slow and hazy. Jittery and anxious. Detached and distant. Incompetent and unproductive. Vain and cocky. Intrusive and pushy. Stubborn and unreasonable. Annoying and bothersome. Obnoxious and biased. I'm describing those perfect hands of hers. I humbly thank you for the offer, dear sacrifice. But nobody wants these. I don't either. My hands! Finally, at last, welcome, sacrifice. I believe there isn't much left for me to bestow upon you. I can't even ask anything in return, as we have done it already. I suppose I can spoil you a little bit further. How do I get the good ending? Oh, since you are on your way to get your true good ending, trust me. Since you're reading this, you're on your way to a true good ending. But be just a little bit more patient. Do a little bit more and a little bit more longer. And you'll get your happily ever after. Are there any different endings? There are outcomes different from the one you are currently on your own to get. But they are not significant. They are not much fun, just dead ends and do-overs. If you're curious about specifics, the one you get if you never offer anything, and the other you get if you always mess up which part to offer which guardian. If you're still curious about specifics, I am responsible for the head, where I made key to the legs and center heads for the rightful ownership over your arms. Which part the arc fit associates with is quite transparent, I'd say. Why is the story so short? Because some people hate letters, and letters hate them as well. The harmony of the imbalance is in all. I don't get it. I'm sorry to hear it. Find your peace knowing that perhaps there isn't much yet. I only hope that you'll enjoy your experience. Nonetheless, maybe at the very least, you liked the pictures. I did! Who made this? Someone called Mozanasi. Uses something called Venpai. The music made by someone named Perry Toon create this divine forest. I love this. This game is fucking hilarious. This game is fucking hilarious to me. This game is so funny. I love it. I'm loving this so much. Offer your head. Ah, that's so kind of you. It's so pure and empty. Once again, I can keep so much useless stuff there. Trust me, I'll make sure it'll be as useful as possible. Useless as possible. My head! You have to confess. Actually, this whole time, you had a heart. Your own heart. Sure, it's kind of small and sort of ugly. It doesn't beat that often. But mostly it's just that showing and offering it to someone is so gross and awkward and embarrassing. It's confusing why any of us have to feel that way. We do. Most of the time we feel nothing, even if it's socially appropriate to. We felt something, but still. Indifference is also an emotion. And feelings disgust you. They're gay. You can't believe that I, the Archfey, was talking about my feelings for so long and repeated myself over and over for so long. I don't want to be needy and greedy and selfish, but that's the way I am nonetheless. I believe unconditional love is wrong, but I still wish for it. I want to become a better person for you, even though I've been pathetic so far. I don't want to love you the way you are. I want you to consistently work on becoming a better person. So, I guess I'm being unfair as well. Although good and bad aren't really appropriate words to describe someone's personality. How can you be better or worse or all the other, by the way. Suppose you can't really love others until you love yourself. I call bullshit. Obviously, I can't believe I should have decided to influence the way you want to improve. And by the way, this phrase, you can love others until you love yourself, kind of all bullshit. Only weirdos can learn to genuinely love themselves. The best this is what regular people can achieve is to tolerate others. And that's already quite a lot already. That's why you can value and love other people. Because they are different from you. But since we never love ourselves and thus each other, let's just burn the world together and have fun together as long as we can. Let's treat the people who don't believe in our love that's real and they are wrong. We can earn each other's love. Love doesn't have to be unconditional, and that's alright. I contradict myself, and that's alright. I said that I don't really need you, but we both know it's a lie and I'm greedy. I shouldn't want you to prove anything. I shouldn't want you to prove anything to me. But I want you to. And you want to prove yourself as well. And I do always want to impress you. So it's fine, right? Love is not about sacrifices, giving away and receiving. It's more like you both feel like you receive something, even though not everybody is giving anything. Do you feel the same way? I'm neither goddess nor devil, so let me worship you. Let's share our future. Let's share future discoveries with each other. Let's both be gods of our own. Let's create and let's destroy as we please. Let's gain ridiculous amounts of power in this messed up, unfair world. Let's Netflix and fucking chill. Love stories are so boring and cliche. Let's just fast forward to when we live our happily ever after and never talk about it again, yeah? And leave no witnesses because I'm awkward and uncloseted. And with that, bye-bye, little witness. Witness, thank you for sparing us your time. Thank you for sparing us your time. What a dumbass fucking game. But there's more achievements to get! Woo! Let's go. Let's go! Kind and gentle. Let's give you nothing. Hello, snake. I'm I think that really should let me feel awesome. It's useful for me that you're saying that you feel lost confused. I mean, what else would it because you're telling yourselves apart from promise something fickle and empty as someone else's heart. You must have heard some silly tales confusing descriptors and nothing so far. Therefore, allow me to offer you some explanations. Therefore, allow me to mislead you even further. Make a sacrifice. I give you nothing. Whee! I give you nothing. Pretty lady. Pretty arc-fey lady. Nothing. I wish you nothing to your sacrifice. Whee! Nothing. Thank you for nothing, this silly sacrifice. Thank you, sacrifice. Many people don't understand how valuable void really is. Keep in mind that the lack of something is always still something. Whee! Understand? Do you know what is going on so far? Yes. Oh, was that so? So, this is about loving yourself. The metaphor that love requires no sacrifice. The metaphor that love requires sacrifice. About the value of love. All this personal message of assume. Somebody poorly written pretentious bullshit. None of the above. Some poorly written pretentious bullshit. Metaphor that love requires no sacrifices. About the value of love. Oh, is that so? Which forest dweller is your favorite? The Naga. Thank you. Which forest dweller is the most relatable? The Arcfey. Still. Interesting. And finally, do you expect the ending to have a good ending? Yes. Alright. Thank you, sacrifice. I'd also appreciate if you'd write your art favorite copy of your external gadget. Something called a girl survey link. That'd be allowed. Do you understand what the story is about? Yes. This story is about a metaphor that love requires no sacrifices. The favorite is the Naga. The label is the Arcfey. And is there ending? Do or did you expect this story to have a happy ending? Yes. I once again submitted a form. You can change your answers if you feel it after you finish the story, if you wish. Offer nothing. Nothing. Many people don't understand the value of nothing. Lack of something is something. You just story about a fish enjoyed fish following some steps. Good boy. Oh, it looks like a puppy. Fuck this. Offer nothing. Offer nothing. Coming here again and again. Maybe you think you aren't losing anything, but maybe you think you aren't losing anything, but what about your time and efforts? Your life can be easily as fulfilling, or even more, if you choose your dreams and aspirations instead of my heart. And you know what? You know that. And you know that. And it seems that. You really do want my heart. Can it be true? How can it be possible? Did I bother you so long that you simply gave up? Or maybe you forgot about my heart's honest worth? You're just curious what will happen once you finally get it? Girl, I'm not gonna disappoint. I'm going to disappoint you. My anxiety tells me that you just settled with me. My sensibility tells me that it can't be true. I don't think you are that sort of person. I don't think I have love left you. I don't think I would have left you if you were such a person. Maybe you're just so good at pretending. Can it be? Another reason is, I'm not fine with it. I'm not giving you my heart just because you think you want it. Just because you successfully convinced me you want it. Something so selfish, but you have to redo it. Yeah, no proper reason for me to refuse it, but I don't understand what's going on. I'm not going to give you my heart when I'm confused. But again, maybe put your heart into it this time. But maybe you don't get it this time. You get an entire do-over. You chose to never sacrifice anything, so you shall receive nothing. Maybe you thought that the story's message is you should not make sacrifices in a healthy relationship, and you are slightly wrong. Not like it's a wrong thing to do, believe in, just that it's not the right message of this particular story, and not what the story is about. And with that, I must bid you adieu. Adieu. You're nothing. You offered, you're nothing. I sure did. Whee! Hello, mermaid. Have my hands. Thank you, silly sacrifice. Thank you, silly sacrifice. Have my legs. I'm accepting your offer, dear sacrifice. Hello, Naga. Have my... Nothing. I fucked up. I fucked up. I fucked up. I did not think that through. Oh no, I fucked up. Have my legs. Oh, it's a kind of you. Thank you, sacrifice. Have my head. Have my hands. Hello, have my head. Why? You understand what's going on here? What's been going on so far? Yes, I totally have. What is that? What is that you understand? A metaphor about the value of love. Author's personal message to someone. Which force of fear? The Naga. Arcfey. Yes. Google form again. Yes. Personal message to someone. Naga. Arcfey. Yes. Submit. Have my legs. Have my hands. Maybe you don't get it next time. Get an entire do-over. You never get the guardian, the preferred body part. The ones that were responsible, the ones that were responsible for. You're missing that some sort of significant and lacking text, pal. Buddy chum. Maybe you don't get it. Missing another wacky. Missing some significant wacky text, pal. Buddy chum. I wonder why. Was it too difficult? You didn't get enough opportunities? If you're curious about different outcomes, including this one, more than the obvious one. I don't want to indulge, Guardian. Either way, you can start from the clear page now, if you like. I thought I must meet you. Adieu. Again and again and again and again and again. Try again and 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 again. What a great sequence of events. I'm curious, why don't we just give the correct things over and over again? There's no more achievements to get, but I'm curious. So what if I would just give the correct things every time? It's so pure and empty, and I can keep so much useful stuff in it. Trust me, I'll put it to good use. That's different from the first time when I gave it to her the second time. I said make it useless, I think. I'll give you my hands. It's your offering it, I have to say. Who needs something perfect, anyway? I'll give it back. I need to go dehydrate. We'll be back in a hot minute after. Then we can sacrifice our legs, and then our heads, and our hands, our legs, hands, and over again. I'm back. Time for more sacrifices. Want my legs? There you go. Enjoy. Silly sacrifice. Why would I want these despicable things? Did I ever say anything about your legs? I don't want you to be. I don't want you to be my legs. I want my own. I don't want you to carry me. I want to walk side by side. I prefer to see you walking by yourself than having your legs. They're worthless to me. I want something perfect. I want something. I don't want my things. Oh, look at you, brainy people. Brainy people pleaser. You're absolutely disgusting. But cute. You think if you do what people want you to, then everything will turn out nicely? Maybe you think that by following the paved road, you receive the most sensible storyline. Why would I give my heart to someone so empty? No talents, no ambitions, no personality, no feelings. A cripple who gave away everything the worth they had. And for what? Listen here. I'm not giving you my heart. You said yourself in the beginning, you don't need it. But you know, I personally never liked being by myself. It's so kind of boring. I can take it much better than most other people, though, so I can't judge them when they decide to desperately stick with people they don't love. Or people who don't love them back. But having someone else by your side is really comforting. It fills you with goals, ambitions, and whatnot. Of course, it can also be bothersome and pressuring. Instead of person, I guess. Well, two persons, I guess. Both you and the other person. And that has something to do with hearts and feelings, of course. I've always fallen in love easily. I've never gotten close, because I have that. Because I know that they disappoint me. Are you really different? Me fall in love is a strong phrase, but you know, like having a crush, taking a liking. Maybe we don't explain love, so many stories and songs about it. Don't they usually all come out wrong? They praise one's beauty, they praise one's personality, they praise their experience together. Some say love doesn't exist, others make it different from camaraderie, others explain it with biology. Of course, I'm not better. No better. I also won't be able to explain it in love, but I really want to attempt to. Alright, let's go back to the topic. I'm very forgiving, Arcfey, so I don't really care who offers me their parts. Now that I'm thinking about it. So, try again. Push on. Do something good next time. And so you didn't manage to get the Arcfey's heart. But don't lose your spirit just yet. Offer yourself again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and see what comes next. Bye. Here's my legs. Oh, how nice of you. I love them. Now we can walk together in each other's footsteps. Let's imagine how cute it'd be. We should consciously become one more like the other. Like the same music, or the same patterns, for the same dishes. Simply adorable. Simply adorable. Here are my hands. Mr. Offer, I have to say, who needs something real, anyway? Hey, what up? Make a sacrifice. I'm ahead. It's kind of you. It's full of so much useless stuff, though. I'm going to take a while to organize anything and clear things up. And yet, trust me, I'll do my best to put it to good use. I'll do my best to put it to good use. Hi. My hands. Again. Leffer, were these hands yours to give away? Leffer said, "What the fuck? I'm a fish! I don't want and don't have any footsteps!" I fucking love that. It's so funny. My legs. Yeah. That's so nice of you. I love them. Now other people can follow our footsteps. Just imagine how cute it'd be. This continent become more and more like us. They like the same music, wear the same clothes, wear the same dishes. Simply adorable. Hey, sure. That's so? What's this about? The value of love. None of the above. Is that so? How about loving yourself? I said that it's not it. Not about the sacrifice. What about sacrifices? I'm not this. I said the same thing as I said last time. Just a Naga. Arcfey. Yes. We'll do this form again for the third time, I think? Or for the fourth time. Fourth time? Because why not? Yes. Author's personal message to someone. Naga, Arcfey, yes. Submit. Oh yeah, go ahead. It's so kind of you. It's so full of so many useless facts and clever thoughts. Are you certain it's okay for me to take it? Trust me, I'll do my best to put it to good use. You really want my heart, huh? But why? It's worthless. To be honest, I think I was clear about it. Yeah, you don't have your own heart. So what? You don't need it. You need your own body parts way more, and yet you gave them away just like that. Your life for me easily is fulfilling, or even more so. If you chase your dreams and aspirations instead of my heart. You know that. So it seems that you want my heart. Can it be true? Is it possible? If I that much, maybe you got my heart's worth. I'm not the sort of person, no, like I love this person. Finally, at last. Welcome, sacrifice. I believe there isn't much left for me to bestow upon you. I came here to ask you anything in return, so if done as already, I suppose I can explore you a little further. How are we going to go the ending? I want to spin off about the Naga. I want to spin off about the Naga. I'm not afraid to say it. I want to spin off about the Naga. I'm so sorry to disappoint you, but you're not getting one. This piece is complete the way it is. I believe there isn't much left to say. And there isn't much to say in the first place, though. Was there? Dang! I wanted to spin off of the Naga. What a shame. That's so kind of you. It's so pure and empty once again. I can keep some useless things here. Trust me, I'll make sure I'll be as useless as possible. It's in the game, I know. True story about two fishes under it. Walk side by side, fish doing one walk, and walking, corpses, legs. Thank you, sacrifice. Was there really a gesture in kindness, I wonder? No, when you don't have legs, you'll learn that one can't really rely on someone else's legs to carry them. One has to stand on their own, wobbly, even uneven legs with dignity. Something whining hands. Thank you for the offer, dear sacrifice. Nobody wants things. I don't either. You have to confess. Actually, this whole time, you had heart. You're an heart. I'm sure it's kind of small and kind of sort of ugly and don't get out often. Mostly it's just trying and offering into someone else's a gross and very awkward embarrassing. It's crazy the way you want. So anyway, of us have to feel the way we do. Most of the time I think we feel nothing when it's firstly started to feel something. Still, indifference is also an emotion. And feeling disgust you. They're cute though. I don't believe that I can't believe that I, the Arc Fairy, was talking about my feelings for so long and repeating myself over and over and over for so long. I don't be needy and greedy and selfish, but I am regardless. Nevertheless, I believe unconditional love is wrong, but I still wish for it. I want to become a better person for you. And even though I've been pathetic so far, I want to love you the way you are. I want you to constantly work on becoming a better person, so I guess being unfair as well. The good and bad are really person the good and worse and the person I'm going to try to go about it. I'm going to be a and by the way, the phrase you can't love others until you love yourself. I call that bullshit. Only weirdos can learn to generally love themselves. The best miserable regular people can achieve is to tolerate others, and that's already quite a lot already. That's why we can value the love of other people. We can value the love of other people because they are different from you. But sort of love ourselves and love each other. Let's just burn the world together and have fun together for as long as we can. Prove to people we don't believe in our love, that it's real and they are wrong. We can earn each other's love. Love doesn't have to be unconditional, and that's alright. I consider myself, that's alright. I say I don't really need you, but we both know that's a lie and I'm greedy. Of course, I didn't want you to prove anything to me, but I want you to, and you want to prove yourself as well. And I do always want to impress you. It's fine, right? Love is about sacrifices and giving away and receiving. It's for like, you both feel like you've received something even though nobody's giving anything. Do you feel that the same way? I'm the goddess or devil. So let me worship you. Let's share our future together. Let's share our future discoveries with each other. Let's both be gods of our own world. Let's destroy as we please. Let's ridiculous amounts of power in this messed up, unfair world. Let's Netflix and chill. Love stories are so boring and cliche. Let's just fast forward to when we live our happy ever after and never talk about it again. Yeah? I leave no witnesses because I'm awkward and closeted. And with that, my little witness, thank you for sparing us your time. Leave! And with that, that is probably a pretty good time to end the Sapphic Sunday. 3 minutes earlier than usual, that's okay. Right there. You go with that, you know? Alright. That was a productive Sapphic Sunday. A lovely game. I enjoyed that. Very fun. Very fun. Okay. We finished Cage Roaches, which I expected to happen today. So, and I expected to take the full stream. So that's why I in fact didn't download Optimal Conditions for Sacrifice, which I was not expecting to be that silly. I didn't know it was gonna be that fucking silly of a game. Like, at all. You know, we try not to. We just need to project our lame feelings through our mediocre fiction. So let's just drop the act. Right here, right now. Let me get personal, like, really personal. Let me embarrass myself. Right in front of you. Breaking fourth wall in VNs is so old. Like, everyone's already made their own DDLC, and everyone's DDLC even invent. Even though DDLC didn't even invent the idea. Hey, I'm somewhat interested, right? Interesting, right? I get self-deprecating, so I'm fun and smart, right? I'm artsy and trendy, right? My feelings are pretty, right? I'm a hidden diamond, right? So, you totally sacrificed me some of your time, right? So you lend your hands, right? I mean, you're writing something for me, right? Hey, maybe I can borrow your back for a moment. Hey, how about this? Maybe I can have your legs. Mine are so tired. This whole yandere thing is so cringe. I know, but I don't mean it in a literal way, so it's fine, right? Ugh, really. You couldn't handle listening to someone's personal baggage for so long just because they participated in your jam twice or something. Gross. Yes, you don't have a heart, huh? But as I said before, give yourself to me. I don't really need to, of course. And maybe I'll offer you my heart instead. How's that sound? I don't know. Do you even enjoy it when people speak to you in questions instead of normal statements? Whatever, just do a thing. Just such a thing. Why? But why? Of course. Because I'm a greedy archfey. I don't need your heart, anyway. It's such a pain. I don't need my heart, anyway. It's such a pain. You know what? I change my mind. Don't bother. I don't need your arms, your legs, or your head. Just give them to my guardians. Or priestesses, or whatever they call themselves nowadays. Please them, and then maybe, just maybe, I'll recall my offer some other time we meet. If you leave R's for Heartless, you can download this .zip or .raw or whatever it can be archived as. It's very straightforward and approximately 5k words to short, and with slightly different offerings outcomes, but they can all lead to the same one. They all lead to the same one ending. A couple of dead ends are present in case you mess up. And by the way, this whole thing is made by Mossy Nasi, and who used Ren'Py engine and Perrytune music. That was the game description on itch, by the way, if you're wondering what the fuck I just read to y'all. That was the itch page description, which is very funny to me. This game is so silly, and I kind of like that. It's so dumb. It's so dumb, but in like a good way. It's so dumb in a good way. Anyways, yeah, that is it for Sapphic Sunday. Fun. Alright. We have the usual, right, sub target, but, which game before that? Any people playing my games? My games. The games we like? The gays? No? Okay. No one playing the gay games. Okay. I guess we're just gonna go over to interesting. Yes, and thank you. It was fun. I really liked Cage Roaches. Cage Roaches was really nice. I'm glad they got a happy ending. and I wasn't expecting that little epilogue, kind of, that like post epilogue, the addendum. I forgot what they called it. The little side, the smallest story about no, Adelina. Fuck, what was her name again? Fuck, I forgot. Johann and I forgot. Yeah, the vampire. The little story about the vampire and how she's, you know, looking after the orphans and such. That's kind of cute. And how Johann keeps a book of all his adventures. That was cute. Very lovely thing. But yeah, we're gonna say hi to Viri. Playing blueprints. If I spell the word raid correctly. And also, the option for sacrifice, it's $5. I know I just played through the whole game for y'all, but like, it's $5. Pretty fun. It's pretty silly. I enjoyed it. Give it a go. Even though I played the game for y'all, give it a go. See how you feel about it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was really fun. And yeah, I'm gonna go have some supper in a bit. Have some dinner in a bit, and then relax. And yeah, hope you have a lovely rest of your evening, guys. Tomorrow's stream, 3 p.m. EST, Missy Izakaya. Looking forward to that. And yeah, hope everyone has enjoy their time in stuff. I'm great at describing things, I know. I'm great at my job. This isn't a job, this is a hobby. But yeah, until next time, have a rest of your day, night, whatever. Bye-bye! Be gay, do crime.